Radio Gospel Radio, our way to heaven. One king and one kingdom making people feel like family. Radio Gospel Radio.
Inner Insights Ministries presents Talk It Out. Do you want support in finding your own solutions to life's everyday problems? Then join Minister Theodora Apkan for a time of finding solutions and answers on Growth Radio as we talk it out on Friday mornings from 9:15 a.m. to 9:45 a.m.
Hi, good morning to some, good afternoon to some, and good evening to some. Today we are really happy to join you again for our program Talk It Out. And before we start, I just want to remind you of the numbers that you can call in. It's 495-0903. And if it's international, you just add 868-495-0903. So today we're going to be talking about purpose and or calling or destiny. And that topic that so many of us have a lot of questions about. We kind of, not sure what my purpose is. Sometimes we know a little, we sense a little, we feel a little, but then sometimes again, doubt comes in and we begin to doubt ourselves, and then we start to wonder, and we go back to square one, not being sure. So today we want to spend some time just unpacking a bit and looking at it. I think we always need to start with, we are believers. So we starting from that place that we believe God. And so we also need to look at, our identity in God, who I am, wonderful, fearfully made by God. And so we know we have that connection. We know that we're not here by chance. We are part of his great design and his plan. And there's a purpose for us being here. There's something that we as a person, as an individual, that we can do better than anybody else, because he put that seed in us to do it. He put that anointing in us to do it. And he has equipped us to do that. So today, let's dive in, and I will share a bit about myself, my journey, and purpose, and how that sort of kind of unfolded for me. And but before I do that, I want to just introduce Makeda. Well, I'm not even sure if she's still a guest, because you can't be a guest after all this time.
Presenter now. I've been promoted to co-presenter.
Right. Okay. So so I'll just kind of hand over to Makeda this time.
Okay, so as always, welcome everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and I really just hope and pray that all the topics that we've covered, you're really getting something from it, and it's touching you, and it's giving you things to think about. And I know today's topic will give you a lot to think about as well, because it's something that people think about, especially us as Christians, think about all the time, which is our life's purpose, our calling, and our destiny. So we will be talking about that. And I'll also be giving Minister Theo a little mini interview, just asking her some things about her purpose, her calling, and things that she's doing. And one of the things in life is that we can go through many different experiences, but we get to that point where we realize that everything that we have gone through has led us to this moment where our purpose unfolds. So so that's something for you to think about. something for you to think about. Yeah.
Okay. So I just want to, for me, I think for me, it all started with loving God and wanting to serve his people and to help others in terms of to get to know him, to get that freedom that comes from knowing him, and to be able to connect with him in that place of freedom, power, and strength. And there's a lot of different, what I would say, vehicles that he used to help me to do that. And so one of them is writing. I've written a number of books, and I write poetry where I use a lot of poetry to inspire people, encourage people, and empower people. And so I use the writing, I do teaching. I'm doing as I'm doing now. We do a lot of, talking and presenting. And one of the greatest tools, though, that I have used is prayer. And another one, even more recent, because I was using it all the time, but never really sort of focused in the way that I am now with it, and that's coaching. So there are different vehicles that I use to fulfill different aspects of my purpose. And I mean, those are just some parts of it, because one of the things that I find on my own journey is that it's like a seed gets planted in you. And then as you nurture that, for instance, when I started with, I started off as a really, really shy, extremely shy young girl. And in school, they would ask me to read poetry and all that. And I would read the poetry really bold and brave, and coming towards the end, I would choke on the last line every time. And but because of how I did it, I would still end up having to represent the school in poetry competitions. And the teachers would come and they would say, oh my gosh, is this, is that, or the other. Just do this in the end, just do that in the end. But the nerves will always get the better of me, and I will choke in the end. And the very last 2 words or so, I wouldn't be able to bring them out. So I would always come second in the competition.
Just gonna literally, I'm just gonna turn my camera off just for a bit because I'm losing you. My internet's unstable, technology. Okay. So yes, I'm still here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sure. Yes. So that happened, and but what it did for me, it was that it showed me that I had a talent, I had a gift, and I had a seed there, and I needed to use it. I needed to sort of practice it and use it so that it could grow and it could develop. And so that I continued with that. And then before you knew it, I was writing the poems. Mm-hmm. And people would read it and they would say, wow, who did that? Who wrote that? And I'd be like, I did. And then I would kind of shy away because I'm not sure what their comments would be. But all the comments were always positive. And then I'll be asked to read it in church. Mm.
and I'll be reading in church. I'll be putting in magazines in church and things like that. And then before you know it, I was, someone suggested you should be writing a book. So I did. And during the process, it's like the Lord took me on a whole journey. And he started with this journey of, he said, he gave me the name for the book, which was Release It and Let It Go. That was the very first book that I wrote. And at that time, I didn't know anything about, you know, your emotions and the negative emotions and the positive emotions, and how you can, you know, replace negative with positive and things like that. Those things were really alien to me in those days. But he started to deal with me, my own emotions, my own feelings, how I handle things, how I, you know, respond to criticism, how I respond to frustration and different things. And it took me a long journey, a long process. And all of the poems in the book, you would see where I screamed, I shouted, I withdrew, I did all of the negative emotions from one place to another and one stage to another as the whole thing unraveled. But that was me on my journey, and finding the things that God had put in me to complement the purpose why he had me on this earth. So as that sort of evolved, that sort of took care of kind of the writing side of things. Sometimes I would just write poems and then get a relief. It was like cathartic for me. I would
was going to just ask you that. Yeah, is that,
yeah,
that cathartic exercise for you?
Absolutely. It kind of calmed me, and it helped me to get a space back and to see things from a different perspective. It was like a healing journey. And by the end of it, the anger, the fear, and everything sort of subside. And I was able to kind of see it different, deal with it different. And but that was my journey with the first book that I did. And then that kind of evolved into me writing for children, which I worked with children many years ago in Sunday school and things like that, but they always an integral part of my life. And so I started to write for children, which I have some books out there for children, but it starts as a seed where people see it in you, and sometimes people would try to pull it out and to draw you, and then the Holy Spirit will guide you and lead you. And so that's one aspect of it. And with the coaching aspect now, it was as if, so I work in mental health. And so I did a lot of counseling and, you know, all these one-to-ones with people. And then in management, where I was actually training staff and things like that. But I started to look at problems that we were having, and then started to think about how to solve these problems. And one of the modules that I do, self-awareness, it started at work. And it was patients complaining of staff, sometimes, you know, not giving them the dignity, not knocking on their doors, or sometimes just being impolite. And so I looked at it from the staff perspective, because they had their story as well. and the patient's perspective. And then I came up with a module, a training for them on self-awareness. And, you know, talking about likes, dislikes, how you come over, and getting understanding that you may come over this way and you may have this goal in mind, but then sometimes you need feedback to understand that the goal in mind that you have is not the way that you're coming over. So with that feedback, with the training, and when people begin to understand and become more aware of themselves, their strengths, their weaknesses, what they do well, what they don't do well, what they need help with, etc., etc., it started to shift things and help things in the workplace. And so that sort of self-awareness aspect came. And as time rolled on, different aspects or different trainings, different teachings came about. A lot of it was through my own experience and through some of the things that I went through, some of the things in prayer and all the areas of in his presence and healing and all that. It's through some of the things that I have been myself. So finding my purpose, it's not a something that happens every day or straight away. It's like a process evolving. But what I find is that one thing,
sorry, my internet is so bad.
It's okay. I can still hear you though.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So that is, it's like one thing that adds to another and leads to another. But then as time went on, you find that all things coming together. I had like one of the more recent books was Marvelous Me for children, but it's about a child talking about their eyes and their hands and appreciating their body parts and their voice and their beauty, the weather, the different things. And so it evolves from one thing to the other. And then we have, so right now we have like the coaching, and I believe that, coaching is like a catalyst for change. So everything that I've done and sort of believed in and learned and gleaned and experienced, I'm able now to use from a coaching perspective to help people who are stuck, to help people who are struggling, and to help people who want to move forward. And so that vehicle of coaching helps me to do that in prayer and in so many different areas. So Makeda, I know I'm talking a lot.
That's okay. And I've just got to apologize to the listeners. My internet is so bad, I have to keep my camera off. But I just wanted to ask you, Minister Theo, because, you've been on a journey like all of us.
Yeah.
But what part of your journey, I mean, I know, you've talked about everything that you've done and that you did when you were caring for people. You talked about the coaching and how that's brought everything together. But what was the point where you realized that what you are doing is part of your calling and your purpose? And I'd like to hear a little bit more about that calling and that purpose that led to you creating Inner Insights Ministries.
Okay, so what I knew that I had a call of God in my life from many years back, and it's a word that he had spoken and on different occasions. So I knew that there was a call. Didn't quite know how it was going to unfold or what it meant. in the true sense of the word. So there was one time in my life I felt that nursing was my calling.
Mhm.
And I did put everything into it. And then the Holy Spirit said, I'm moving you on from this.
Mhm.
But you haven't lost anything, because all of the skills and everything that you've used, you would still be able to use it, but you will be able to use it in my kingdom.
Mhm.
Couldn't see the connection, but then I've always been very sort of a nurturing person, a sort of mother, carer sort of person. So as that kind of unfolded, he kind of, a few years ago, he instructed me to gather a group of women together to pray. And well, it wasn't women, it was people, but mainly the women come. God bless a woman, you know, when they when they hear prayer, they always
Yeah.
show up.
Yep, I can testify to that.
The women always come. So the women came. The men weren't excluded, and they're still not excluded. But the women came, and so we started to pray. And I remember it was around a time that they were having elections in Trinidad and Tobago. And he had us pray, I think pray and fast for 7 days, or pray for 7 days. It's kind of fading now, prior to that election. And we prayed for about 8 months. And then he said to me, I want you to begin now to coach these people. And so I started the coaching. So we would pray on a Thursday morning at 5, and then we would coach on a Saturday morning. So we met twice weekly.
Okay.
And we did that for quite a while. And then after a while now, he said to me, now I want you to begin to organize it. And so I started to organize it. And he was literally kind of giving me instructions in prayer, how to organize it. He gave me a name for the ministry, and said it was, Inner Insights, because what you're going to be doing, you're going to be helping people to look inwards, to see themselves from within, and to deal with the issues from within. Because if my people can deal with the issues that is within them, then they would be able to make room for me, so that my river will flow through them. And so then he started to take me on this journey where he was showing me the things that were blocking people. And so he took me on this journey of showing me guilt and shame and fear and anxiety and all of the things within people, within us, that was blocking us from hearing him, from connecting with him, and from flowing with him. And that was, I was learning as I went along, because some of those things were new to me too. I didn't know, of the emotions of joy and peace. I knew that you have the joy of the Lord and everything, but I didn't know the language that it was actually an emotion, and you could replace the fear and the guilt and the shame with the positive emotions. And that can be done in prayer when you connect with him, and when you allow yourself in prayer to be able to let him open the eyes of your heart so that you can see in the realm of the spirit, and you can see him, you can see yourself, you can see things from a spiritual perspective, because everything happens in the spiritual realm first
That's
before
right.
it
Yes.
manifests in the
Yes.
natural. So it
That's
was
right.
him taking me away from that place of the natural and into that place of the supernatural, and beginning to show me, give me different programs to use, like the boundaries and, purpose and so many different things he started to pour in so that I could be able to help. So I did one program on mental and emotional well-being, and it, mental, the emotional, the physical, and God is concerned about the whole person,
That's right. Yeah.
the whole man, the everything that concerns us concern him. He made us unique. We say that, but we don't see our uniqueness.
We don't, we actually don't. And we've got a couple of minutes left. So I just want to quickly touch on that, Theo, because we actually
Yes.
don't see it sometimes as human beings. And whether we're Christian or not, we can be so focused on what someone else is doing or who they are. We wish we could have that talent. We wish we could have that. And if only we could actually realize what the God-given talents that we've got and what the purpose, he's given us those talents to use for his glory. And as I had the quote, didn't I? So it says, your purpose is what God calls you to do, what is beyond your God-given talents and abilities. You've heard the old adage, God does not call the qualified, he qualifies the call. So,
Yes.
yes, exactly. So we have a calling, and we're like, I'll give you an example very quickly. I used to sit down and say to God, God, I really want to do my own business. I really want to do my own thing. I'm happy I had a great job. I had a great team, but it's that thing, isn't it? That's deep inside that eats away at you. And I know that I love working with people like yourself, to do with healing, to do with moving people from one place to another, breaking old habits, behavior change, things like that.
Yes.
And personal development. And I'll never forget. And I said to God, what can I do? Because obviously I need to earn an income. And I said to him, but I don't sew, I don't make clothes, I don't do hair, I don't do these kind of things that, you can get customers lining up in your door. And I said, what do I have as a resource? And the Lord very clearly told me, yourself.
Yes.
And it took me a while, and I was like, okay, so now I have to go away and figure out what that means. And it means that, and I heard it repeated by a reverend called Sam Oye, where he says, look at what's in your head, look at what's in your heart, look at what's in your hands, look at what's in your home, because all of us have got something around us, within us, that we then use as those tools and those resources to do whatever we need to do. But it's about not focusing outside, focusing inside. And just what you said, it's already in the spiritual realm. We've just got to call it now into existence, into our own lives, by asking God to give us that discernment, to give us that, that real kind of conviction. What is this, Lord? And, is this really what you want me to do? And you and I, spoke earlier that there could be somebody that's got a great job, bringing in great money, a lovely home in the suburbs, but something inside them, God is calling them, eating away at them to become a missionary. They have their own road to Damascus moment, and they will just leave it all behind because they really feel called to do that. And when they get to where then God starts to work it out, and then all of a sudden a post comes up for someone to go to, I don't know, somewhere that maybe a country they've never even heard of, out of Mongolia. And the next thing, they get there and realize that they've been called there to start a ministry and to bring the souls to the Lord. And I would say to anyone, when it comes to looking at your purpose is already there. It was preordained for you.
Yes.
You have just got to just recognize what that is. You know, you can have a call into ministry. I strongly know I have a call into ministry, but it's what within that ministry that I do. I know that my purpose is definitely working with people. It definitely is about people and their healing and moving forward. So, you know, I would leave you with the questions, you know, yes, I'd leave you with the questions. We need to do this. We need to do a part 2. We can't leave it like this. So we definitely need to continue this next week. So we've been told now we have to wrap it up, but I just want to leave you to start thinking about your purpose, really start praying about it, and really look at your life's journey, where it's leading you to, where it's led you to this moment, and where you think that is now your purpose in the kingdom. And I think we have to wrap up now, Theo. I don't want us to get told off.
Okay. So just come with your pens and paper next week. Come with your notepad, and we will explore more of this with you. And I just leave you with a quick quote. You weren't an accident. You weren't mass-produced. You aren't an assembly line product. You were deliberately planned, specifically gifted, and lovingly positioned on the earth by the master craftsman. So God bless you, and do have an awesome week. We love you.
Lovely. Take care.
Presents Talk It Out. Do you want support in finding your own solutions to life's everyday problems? Then join Minister Theodora Apkan for a time of finding solutions and answers on Growth Radio as we talk it out on Friday mornings from 9:15 a.m. to 9:45 a.m. This is a message to the saints. The table has been set, so take your place. There is no more condemnation. There is only grace.
Growth Radio, Gospel Radio, our way to heaven. Growth Radio, Gospel Radio, our way to heaven. One king and one kingdom making people feel like family.